Every Jordan itinerary tells you to spend 1 night in Wadi Rum. I spent 4. The first time I went, I only stayed 1 night because that's what was recommended, but it didn't feel like nearly enough time. I left wishing I'd planned more. That's the trip that calibrated me for my return to Wadi Rum this year. So when I went back, I stayed for 4. I'm going to tell you why 1 night isn't enough for what Wadi Rum actually offers, what 4 nights looks like, where to stay, and the trade-off if you've only got a week in Jordan total. Wadi Rum is the desert in the south of Jordan. Sandstone, towering cliffs, Bedouin camps, the kind of silence you don't find in most places. The standard Jordan loop is Amman, Petra, Wadi Rum, Dead Sea, sometimes Aqaba. Most operators give you 1 night in Wadi Rum, slotted between Petra and the Dead Sea. That works if you want to say you've been there. To each their own. But it doesn't work if you actually want to see the place. Here's what 1 night actually looks like. You arrive in the afternoon. Most 1 night itineraries include a half day or maybe even a full day Jeep tour. So it's not just the camp. You do see some of the landscape. You get to the camp after sunset. You eat dinner, you sleep, you wake up, you have breakfast, you leave. But that's a small fraction of what's there. Burdah, the rock bridge, one of the most beautiful hikes in the country, is a half day on its own. The longer canyon hikes are a full day. Jabal Dami, which is the highest peak in Jordan, is a half-day climb. There are multiple Jeep routes to see the inscriptions, the dunes, the white desert, each half-day to full-day commitments. You can ride a camel for a half-day, though honestly, that one actually might feel like too long. Not much of that fits into the 1 night window, even with the included Jeep tour. And then there's the light. Sunrise and sunset in Wadi Rum are part of the point. They're not the same thing twice. We actually got unlucky on this front this trip. 4 nights in, and the weather only gave us 1 really good sunset, which is unusual for this area. The expectation is that most of your mornings and evenings are spectacular. 1 night gives you 1 shot at a sunset and 1 at sunrise, both rushed because you're driving in or out around them. There's also a third thing that's harder to describe: the silence. The desert at night away from the camp doesn't sound like anything you encounter in normal life. Here's how the 4 nights actually went this year. It was not slow lounging around the campfire. It was full days, end to end. Day 1, we got in at 9 in the morning, did the Jabal Burdah hike the same day, half-day route to the rock bridge, and then a half-day Jeep tour after lunch. Back to camp for dinner. First night at Wadi Rum Cave Camping. Already by the end of day 1, we'd seen more of Wadi Rum than the standard 1 night itinerary covers. Day 2, a half-day climb up Jabal Dami, which is the highest peak in Jordan with great views over the border to Saudi Arabia. Half-day Jeep tour in the afternoon, back to the cave camp for the night. Day 3, full-day hike through one of the canyon routes, lunch on this trail, and then this is the part that doesn't happen on shorter trips. Instead of going back to the main camp, we wild camped out in the desert. No camp infrastructure, no lights, stars you cannot even believe. This is the night the silence I mentioned actually landed. Day 4, a camel ride in the morning, hanging out at the camp in the afternoon, final night at the cave camp. Day 5, out, breakfast, and transport back to the village. On price, our 4-night package came out to around 440 Jordanian dinar per person, roughly $620 US all in. That covered the lodging, all meals, the transportation, and every activity on that itinerary. For what's included, it's strong value. I've been to Wadi Rum twice. The first time was years ago at one of the regular tent camps. There are well over 100 camps in the area, and I don't actually remember which one I stayed at. It was fun. The second time this year, I stayed at Wadi Rum Cave Camping, and that's the one I'd recommend now. The cave camping setup is what it sounds like. Rooms carved into the rock rather than tents, which is its own kind of experience. They're Bedouin run. They were flexible on the package and the pricing for our group. Across 4 nights of meals, activities, and lodging, the value was solid. A note on what to bring. It gets cold at night, even in spring. Bring layers. A flashlight or a headlamp is also a good idea, and cash for tips and any add-ons. If you only have a week in Jordan total, 4 nights in Wadi Rum probably isn't the right call. You'd be sacrificing time in Petra, Amman, or a visit to the Dead Sea. The math gets tighter the shorter your trip. If you have around 10 days, 4 nights is probably still more than I'd actually do, but I'd definitely spend more than 1, maybe 2 or 3. The more than 1 night call holds even at shorter trip lengths. The specifically 4 nights call only kicks in once you've got real touring time. If you have 2 weeks or more of dedicated time in Jordan, 4 nights in Wadi Rum is comfortable. My setup this year was 5 weeks total in Jordan, but 2.5 of those weeks were spent in Amman working. Only the last 2.5 weeks were traveling around the country when Kevin's dad joined us. 4 nights in Wadi Rum fit cleanly inside that window. And we also spent plenty of time at Petra. Petra, for what it's worth, also needs more time than you're typically told. If there's interest in a Petra version of this video, let me know in the comments. That's the case for going long in Wadi Rum. Subscribe if you want more itinerary takes on the Middle East and other places I've spent real time. And let me know in the comments how long you actually spent there.